Your most missed memory?
Missed memory? My mom.
I could answer that for you. Yeah, her and her mom were inseparable. And even as a family, we'd take trips, we'd bring her mom along all the time. So she was a big part of our life, big part of my daughter's life. And she's missed, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and that's the work that you're doing here, it's about family, right? So
Yes.
encouraging family and no doubt, like, the transformation that a family can have, right? And the impact.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's like levity, but at the same time, showing the side that we are people, right? And we do have.
And speaking about my mom, I think that's what frustrated me the most is I couldn't change her eating habits and her exercise habits because she was from Mexico and her eating habits were bad. She would refry her beans, Spanish rice, tortillas.
Traditional Mexican food.
Mexican food, and then she wouldn't exercise, not do anything. So out of desperation, I was trying to help her, and I was frustrated because she had diabetes, high blood pressure, open heart surgery. She ended up having a stroke. So I know all of that could have been prevented if she would have, and that's my biggest motive to reach people, especially in the Mexican community, is their diet and their exercise. They don't eat correctly, and a lot of my patients, I'm a dental hygienist, I look at their medical history, and I see a lot of Mexicans, is they're overweight, they have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all of that could be taken away. All their medicines could be taken away if they would just change their eating habits.
And I'm sure it's like that with other cultures, not just
Yeah,
Mexicans.
not just Mexicans,
Traditional fatty foods, starchy foods, and so those are the people we want to reach.
Yeah, and the work that you guys are doing is definitely going to help with that.
Yeah, we've been together 33 years. We met in the doctor's office. Yeah, it was one of those, it's a long time ago, 33 years ago, but it was in February. It was, I remember, a leap year day. It was the 29th of February.
The 29th of February.
Yeah,
1984.
And I'm sitting in the doctor's office, and I'd been in there for a couple hours. Remember the old satellite Cigna healthcare buildings where there's small little buildings, and there might have been 30 people in a waiting room, and I'm waiting and waiting. I didn't have an appointment. I forget what I was waiting for. I think might have even been an ingrown toenail or something.
It was an ingrown toenail.
Yeah, I'm sitting there in the waiting room, and there's only one chair available next to me and one right across from me. And then my now wife, Carol, walks through the door. I see her. I shape up, I stand up real tall, and she checks in, and she sits right across from me. Yeah. And then I strike a conversation. I'm like, I got to talk to this gal, right? I start talking to her, and as soon as I start talking, maybe 30 seconds later, they call my name. And I'm like, what? Really? Yeah. I've been sitting here for 2 hours, and now you're going to call my name? But I was fortunate enough to get enough details into where I worked and the town I lived in, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if she wants me to go on into this part of the story.
So
but
you found out about her through your work, like details.
No, I told her about where I worked and what I did. I had no clue what she did, how old she was. I don't even want to tell you how old she was. Just know that I'm 8 years older than her, okay? And I met her when I was 25. You do the math. All right, so so I leave. I never see her again.
Okay, so I'll take over.
Never see her again, meaning
Well, wait a minute. Let me finish this little tip. Okay. So I go home and I talk to my brothers and sisters. I'm pretty excited. I go, man, I met this girl. She's really sweet. We hit it off. We were talking, but they called me into the doctor's office, and I never saw her again. I saw her walking away at the end, and I thought, I'll never see that gal again. Go ahead and take over.
Okay, so I cut back out, and he's gone. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's gone. He doesn't have my number. I'm never going to see him again.
This is before cell phones, right?
Pardon me?
This is before cell phones.
Before cell phone. Well, it was 33 years ago.
This is rotary dial, Francisco. Yeah.
So I went home and I told my mom, which was weird, is I never told anyone about any guys I was dating. I said, I met this guy and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever. So I thought, okay, I know he works at a Ralph's. That's when he worked at a Ralph's in Montebello. Mm-hmm. So that was before we had mass MapQuest or anything,
Yeah.
or, you know, Siri. So I had to call on my dial phone 411 and ask for the phone number for Ralph's. So I called, and a girl answered, which apparently was his manager who he used to date. I found out after. So I said,
That's just hearsay.
So I
Hearsay.
said, I need to go shopping there, something stupid next week, the next Friday.
So you,
And I was in high school.
You ditched school?
I ditched school.
No,
Yes,
Carol.
I did. I did.
There it is. She was in high school. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
And I parked the car and I walked in, and I thought, as soon as I walked in, I saw him checking, and I said, "Oh my God!"
Your heart
there,
stopped.
yes, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there he is! What do I do? What do I do?" So I walked to the frozen food aisle, and I saw from the corner of my eye he called someone, probably his girl that he was dating at the time, the manager, and said, "Hey, I'm checking out." I could see him checked out, and then he had his
Took
little
a break.
apron.
It's
He
called
took a
taking a
break,
break,
or whatever
yeah.
he did, and he came over to talk to me like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And like an idiot, I'm just like, "Oh, I'm buying ice cream," because I was in the buying ice cream. I'm at my cousin's house right down the street, and I'm gonna go take him ice cream. He's like, "Oh, well, where do they live? I know this area really well." I had no idea the streets. "Oh, just down the street right here."
Yeah, she wouldn't give me any details. It's
Because I
like,
didn't know what
over there somewhere. I'm like, well, that's Montebello Boulevard. That's Whittier Boulevard, and you know. And she's like, yeah, over there. And I'm like, okay, I won't keep barking
Yeah,
up that
he
tree.
knew
you know?
exactly
I knew
what he was doing.
So
Yeah.
anyway, make a long story short, I said, hey, I get a lunch hour in about an hour. You want to have lunch? And so we.
Always throughout our dating, we always wanted to open a gym and do this, right? But we knew we had to have kids, we had to have a family, we had to have our careers. You know, I'm a registered dental hygienist. He was a captain for the fire department. So we knew we needed stability.
Yeah.
So now that he's retired and our kids are grown and they're in college, now we're living out our dream.
Amazing 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because we see you. It's possible, right? Like
Absolutely.
with the hard work ethic
Yeah.
and the lifestyle.
And a good support group, you know. Like
Yeah.
my wife was my biggest fan, you know, and I would never worry when I'd leave to work because I knew the kids were in good hands, you know, all the time.
So in your trajectory, right, your background, you've mentioned firefighter, being raising a family, starting off in the market. Now there's also the bodybuilding.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Like, where did that?
You know, when taking a step back, when Carol and I first met, we realized we had a love for fitness.
Yes.
She was a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I played high school
I was
football.
in gymnastics.
You know, varsity football, varsity wrestling, you know, and then a little bit of college wrestling. And so I was an athlete at heart. She was too. We both loved fitness. So early on, as we started dating,
Well, let's back up. The first time I walked into that Cigna doctor's office, the first thing I noticed is physical attraction, right? You can notice that when you walk in. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy's physique is amazing.
Because you were already working out.
Well, he was already
Oh, yeah.
bodybuilding. He
Okay.
had an amazing physique in him, you know, his chest and his legs, and I just thought, oh my gosh, you know, this guy looks amazing, his physique. And I looked pretty, well, I was 18, so I looked pretty, I'm sure
Yeah,
I
she
looked
looked
pretty
pretty
good
great,
too,
too.
yeah. So that,
Was it her eyes?
Oh yeah, I looked right into her eyes. And I thought,
yeah.
she's
I
for
would
me,
love
you know.
What did you think when I walked in?
Oh man, I just thought, wow, she looks like a smart girl.
All right.
Yeah. No, she's beautiful. I gotta talk to this girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was, of course, the first thing. And then once I loved the way he was interacting with me, his personality.
Well, give us specific. What about the
Just the way he handled himself, his smile, how easy he was to talk to. He wasn't flirty. He was just fun to talk to,
All
you
right.
know, and I enjoyed that. Does that make sense?
yeah, I mean, I tried to be subtle talking to her. I didn't want to just look like this guy who's all over this girl who
Yeah.
just walked in.
So that leads us then to
The
today.
bodybuilding, I think you were
Bodybuilding.
talking about. So he was bodybuilding at that time.
Well, I would
worked
say not bodybuilding. I was a weightlifter. I loved
Yeah.
weightlifting, and I had a membership back in the day. I don't know if any of you guys are gonna remember, but they had Jack LaLanne's, and then they had muscle. I worked out at a place called Montebello Health Studio.
Yeah.
And before that, there was a place, it was called Muscle Digest. It was an old magazine. The owner of Muscle Digest was a doctor, and he owned a small little gym on Garfield in the city of Montebello. And that's where we first started working out.
Yeah.
And we had a whole group of people that we knew, and I brought Carol with me, and we started working out as a...
Because I loved working out. I was always, let's see, I started going to the gym when I was 13 with my grandma. It took me to Today's Women in San Marino, and it was an all-women's gym. So in the summers, I would take the bus there, and I would stay there all day and do probably I was always fanatic. I would do like 4 aerobic classes, and then I'd shower there and I was just crazy into the cable machines.
She was crazy for
fitness.
fitness,
I was just I loved it. I ended up getting a job there and working as an aerobics instructor there. So I would go running by myself and go jog. I just loved working out, you know. And then when I met him, he got me more into weightlifting time. But this time, I just started CrossFitting with some friends. And Donna Bender was the one that started CrossFit with us in the garage. And she was kind of like a complainer. Oh, I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. I said, this lady's never gonna like CrossFit. Why is she, like, there's no way she's gonna do it. If I don't like it, she is not gonna like it, that's for sure, because I'm pretty hardcore. So I'm frugal. I'm like, I'm not gonna pay that much. My husband's a level 1 coach. He'll train me in my garage. I'm not gonna pay that money. So I went to try to do it in the garage, and, you know, I'd see a dead fly, or I see this, and I stop my workout and do it, and then I'd say, oh, you know what, I'd start the timer, I'm gonna do a 15-minute WOD, then I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do 2 burpees instead of 10, or I'm gonna do that. So I started rationalizing, right? And then I thought, oh, I'm gonna just do the laundry, I'll come back and do it. Well, I'm like, okay, after about a month trying to do it by myself, forget it.
She needs accountability.
I need accountability.
And to clear the air, Donna and Bender are our partners here at CrossFit Descendants.
Yeah, so they end up being our partners. It's awesome.
And our families have been friends for years, and our kids grew up playing volleyball and stuff like that. But Carol needs accountability, and that's why she's so good at the accountability thing with people, because it worked for her, and it brought her back out of this rut, and she's always done better with accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to make a long story short, when I found out that I could do CrossFit, but if Marc joins, I get a discount because he's a fireman. So I dragged him along. He's like, no, I
got my gym in the garage.
I have a garage. I do it at work. I said, no, you're going to come with me and you're going to do this.
Right.
How much is the discount, if you remember?
I think half off. I think
Might have been 50% off for
50%
law
off,
enforcement
and
and
then
police
he got,
and fire.
yeah, so,
or fire.
Yeah, so I dragged him along. So he came along. So I was
She
like,
didn't have to pull that hard. It was kind of fun.
yeah,
You know? It was nice
so
to be
I was like a
working out with
puppy
her
dog.
again. I was happy. You know?
So we did it as a couple, but I was embarrassed to go in because he was an amazing CrossFitter, and they're like, and that's his wife, you know. But I thought, okay, leave your ego at the door. Don't worry about it. Forget it. So that's why I started at CrossFit. So I need to be around people. I need to be motivated. I need to be around people. If I'm going to suffer, I want someone else to suffer right next to me, you know? So that's when I got started into that. And then once I started getting into it, and then a group of 4 gals came up to me and said, I heard you did bikini contests. Can you help us do this bikini thing? So that kind of got me, lit the fire under me, like, you know, okay, that was like a long time ago. I kind of like been out of the loop, but I think I can do this again, you know, and help. So I started helping them, and then it lit that fire. Then I started meal prepping myself, and I found like that fire was lit, like I was resurrected, I guess you would say. So, and now we've just build on that, and I feel great. Now I'm back in shape. I'm helping people, and so that's why I'm so passionate when I see someone who's not, I could just feel it on them, and I just think there's another way to live. You know, when I see that, I'm like, you have to try eating different. You need to try working out, because I know when I was in a rut how hard it was, and I know the possibility how they can feel on the other side.
So you've seen the full spectrum.
Oh, I've been,
been
back in. Oh yeah, I've been through the spectrums.
One of the things, and it seems your philosophy, right? You mentioned this several times: the seasons of life. Mm-hmm. So, kind of,
Carol and I have been believers for a lot of years. You know, we raised our kids in a Christian home. We homeschooled for a little period of time. We kept them in private Christian school. Our faith is really important. We're believers that, you know, Jesus Christ died for our sins, and that we're going to be in heaven someday. And you know, that's the joy we have in us. And it's funny, we talk about seasons. You know, for the longest time, I was the man reading the Bible all the time and being the head of the household and really pushing, you know, raising my family, right? And we've evolved through seasons where now I've got my wife convicting me. She'll be there early in the morning, sitting in her quiet time, reading her Bible. She's gonna read. You gonna read today? Or she'll give me that look. You know what I mean?
Like,
and I'm
wait,
like, oh yeah, I was about to go read right now. You know?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, you're going to the box right now?
But you don't have
didn't-
time to read your word. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And so, yeah, most people don't know that that is our foundation, super foundation right there. You know, that wheel, that transformed by food wheel we talked about.
Yeah.
That spiritual life is so important for us. For us, that's the most important thing. Everything else evolves around that.
I know for a fact that if we didn't have God in the center of our marriage and our life, that we would have been divorced a long time ago.
Because we go through the same struggles as any
Yeah.
couples do.
Right,
You know?
and part of your philosophy as well is family virtue, right? We got a chance to interview your daughters, and the family component is something that's key, right, to good families nowadays.
Yeah,
That's
oh,
okay.
absolutely. And I know in this world the way it is, if we don't have our faith, whatever it may be, there's different, you know, everyone has their own spiritual walk. If we don't have that, it grounds us to our morals, our values, how we're going to treat others, if we're going to be trustworthy with in business or integrity. All that is so important, you know, and we've lost that, I know, in this world today, in this society. So that we have Christ. And I just always want to remember that we have to keep him center. I think that is the most important thing.
And we seem to know when one of us needs that, you know, like she'll be the strong one in certain times, and then I'll be the strong one at different times, and we balance each other out like that. It's
because it's always hard to. There's times where he's stronger, his walk is stronger, and mine is weaker. I'm getting off track, off balance. And there's times where I see that he's putting in too much time here and is off balance.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't we just stay in balance?
You would think, oh, that's okay if he's a hard worker and everything, but really that for us, Satan's going to want to push you as far away from, you know, your God. He's going to do as much work as he can to keep you away from, you know, your beliefs.
Because he knows our
Your
weaknesses.
quiet time, yeah.
So if we're not spending time on the word, he's going to find those weaknesses.
He's going to throw those stumbling blocks at you.
You know,
right?
and no matter how long, and I think that's my greatest fear, that I ever want to lose, that even though we've been together 33 years, that things can still fall apart, and I don't want that, you know. So that's why I like this morning, I just had to go on my knees and say, okay, Lord, you know my heart, you know my desire, you know my passions, and you know our dreams, you know, and I just want to be able to stay with my husband for a lifetime, and I want us to be together to have our grandkids together.
So it's about keeping an eye towards the future, right?
Yeah,
The journey that's
absolutely.
Always,
to come.
always, yeah.
Great. So, anything else that people who are maybe starting to see you? Thank you for sticking around this long.
Yeah. If you're feeling like there's no hope, or you think this is as good as it's going to get, you may be 50 pounds overweight, you may be 10 pounds overweight, you're feeling tired and exhausted, don't give up hope. Just know that there's a different way to live. Just know that if you can try this plan, try the steps, just follow, give it 6 weeks, and I guarantee you, after you do the 6 weeks, you're going to want to do another 6 weeks. And after that, you're going to want to do another 6 weeks. And then it becomes a lifestyle and a habit,
absolutely, yes.
and your body will continually transform. That's all I can leave you. If you could just not give up hope and try.
Yeah, we're just everyday people, you know, but we have a love for fitness and health, and we want to share this with people out there. And it's not rocket science, you know, and we try and make it simple for people to follow. And so we break it down in steps, and you won't regret it. It completely changes your life. It improves your energy, your focus, and your goals are attainable whether you want to gain weight or lose weight or just have more energy. There's a plan for you. So, and Carol breaks it down simply and very easy to follow. So I hope you join us in our journey.
Yeah. What do you have to lose except pounds and inches?
That's right. Yeah.